Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for another match on the semifinals. 8th seed versus 4th seed. We're going to be going into this one watching California Long Beach taking on the MU team. I'm kind of wondering how this is going to turn out. The stakes are as high as my college roommate in 2012, so this is going to be an interesting one. I cannot wait to see what both teams bring to this. As like I said, this is elimination. This is it. They have brought themselves to this point. They've been playing all year, putting it together, putting in the hard work to get here. Now it's time to see whether or not it pays off. One team is going to be walking away with a sour taste in their mouth, and I'm not just talking about soap. Let's see what happens. CDAPS, what are you thinking about this match for tonight?
I'm really excited, just as you said. There's really high stakes in this. This is the semifinals, so this could potentially be the last game for either of these teams, depending on how things work out precisely. I've had the pleasure of watching Miami University play a couple of times, but I have not gotten to see California State University Long Beach. I've heard really great things about them, that they are a really well-structured, really frag-heavy team with a whole lot of good players, so I'm going to definitely be looking and waiting with patient eyes to see how they line up against MU, and we should be in for an absolute treat.
This is going to be absolutely fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope that you've got your favorite flavor of Doritos and your best bubbly drink in front of you. I know I've super glued my eyes right open, and yes, there is a Visine for that because I don't want to miss any of it. We're going to be coming into our first map here. Bomb going to be going into Cafe Donetski. I never actually end up saying it correctly, so I'm just
Dostoevsky.
There, that one. All right, getting into the ban phase here. MU picking really fast. They've got their ban already set for motion, and there goes Thermite. There might be a reason to take him off the board, as the defenders taking that third floor wall up towards Piano Room is almost a must in some points to give yourself some extra movement. But it looks like California Long Beach is going to be taking Thatcher off the board, so it looks like the bro team is now gone.
Both those
interesting.
Yeah, both those operators have such a good synergy together. The Thatcher Thermite patented combination. Especially now with the Thatcher ban, you sort of have to ban the Kaid, or else it's going to be way too difficult to get these walls open, especially because of the timing abilities with the electric claws and things such as Habana pellets. It's going to be all that more difficult. So having Kaid off the board is really good, as well as the default Mira ban. Mira really opens up really long lines of sights and all these other angles, and it really helps to hold down these choke points that we do see with Cafe. Now, especially as we see the Thermite ban, that is just a very difficult ban to sort of rally behind, especially as attackers if you are not used to playing without Thermite. It's just sort of a quintessential piece in most team compositions, but we are going to go ahead and see XO Jeff switch over onto the Habana instead, so potentially California Long Beach could just be fully ready for this ban.
Yeah, I'm hoping so, because with the level of stakes that we have right now, this is a semifinal match. These two teams are now put head-to-head. I have, like you as well, I've seen Miami play a few times, and they've done a very, very fantastic job of countering their opponent in the different plays they try to adapt while in the game. Not necessarily their overall plan, but definitely countering their abilities to, well, more or less adapt to their play, getting that kind of counter-espionage type play going on. As we see, they're on that third floor. They're going to be holding up in that top room. They've decided to armor off the entirety of the white hallway there rather than the rotate we see in often other games, especially playing on a casual level.
Yeah, they're actually going downstairs for the first. They're going to try to throw a little bit of a curveball towards CUSLB. The thing about both of these sites is they are played in a very similar fashion. You're still going to have players playing the very similar positions up on the third floor, trying to get a deep horizontal or vertical roam and keep those players such as the Buck and the Twitch from going upstairs and utilizing their soft breach kit to really open up all these angles to try to take out these anchors that we will see down below. They're going to try to rip back those layers to reveal exactly where the defenders are sitting around. But with the amount of players up top, it is going to definitely be something more difficult to push forward on. And players such as Lulu are going to be the first line of defense towards this possible quick, aggressive takeover towards excavation.
And we're seeing here on the other side is Strikton using that drone against Mozzie. Of all characters, he's having a hard time dealing with as Buck comes over. He sees the hatches open above him, realizes that he's gonna have to play this a little bit differently, goes back towards red. Exert MU playing in that little hallway just outside, as they've also got control of red, the top of red anyways, as 3 of California Long Beach's players are now playing up top, trying to clear out the up top area. As we see, it looks like both the team members moving in as well as those who are droning behind them are moving steadily together, no one getting really too far ahead of each other, and allowing themselves to work more as a cohesive team. Again, those stakes are high. They're trying to make sure they make as little amount of mistakes as possible, as we see IGA already starting to use some of the breaching charges off of that Ash to try and open up. Here we go, as Soup finds that first SMG-11 kill on Fresh Quang. There goes a drop, pop, and lock 'em. As we go back up towards the left-hand side, IGA playing as Ash. He's kind of stalled now, taking that wide area as Ericssert just finds Uzi and literally takes him out with the SMG-11. Talk about an SMG war that's going on here. As Soup and Exert are working in tandem with each other on the top of that white stairwell area. Going back towards Piano, we see XO Jeff moving towards that white hallway, maybe trying them from a different spot, but IGA catches Exert out in the open, going into the laundry hamper. My goodness, the Independent Grocery Association strikes back with that one, as Jeff is now back upstairs as Habana, going back towards IGA on that white stairwell, trying to get some more information as they slowly start pushing down white.
Yes, so both of those off-breachers are off the board for California State, but they still do have the breaching charges of Habana, and she's going to utilize them to full offend to take out Worm, as Kaiga picks up another kill on Audacity, and that's his double kill. Now a triple kill as he takes out Soup, and it's all left up to Lulu in a 1v3, and he will get taken out by the crossfire of Strikey, and California State will drag this round from the jaws of defeat, push it back onto the Miami side, and will take round 1 of Cafe.
Talk about a turnaround on that one. I think both of us were thinking the same thing. They were both in a very bad position with those first 2 initial frags that were taken down. However, they were able to work together again as that team in tandem, pushing down and pushing against Miami and just getting them out of those nitty-gritty corners. At the very beginning, Kaiga was trying to take that top spot near white, but the Jaegers ADS was stopping those breaching charges from taking down that shield, and those SMG-11s, when used properly, are absolutely disgusting to try and push up against, as we saw originally there with Exert getting taken down, or sorry, Exert taking down someone, as well as Lulu.
But
was it Soup? Oh, whoops.
Yeah, Soup is an SMG-11 combo.
Both of them were using the SMG-11s at the top of that white stairwell, and they were just looked like they were going to be able to hold it forever. However, California Long Beach was able to push in together in tandem using those drones, push them downstairs, and with that open hatch, Kaiga was able to capitalize on that open area and take Exert down as he tried falling back from that white stairwell.
I really like the hold that we're about to see out of Miami here with these Goyo shields. If you didn't know, Goyo did just recently lose one of his Vulcan shields in the most recent patch, as well as the TCSG being nerfed a little bit. However, it is still a very punishing weapon that can really take some long-range gunfights and just chunk away a whole lot of damage from any attackers. Unfortunate enough to get them, but Soup is going to start the aggression first and take out Jeff, drop the diffuser on the ground with a spawn peek from the Echo. And that's also the hard breach off the board. And that is a ginormous pick coming out for Miami.
So Miami decides to up the stakes even higher with that spawn peak. It worked out as Jeff gets laid out right in spawn. There, like you said, there goes the diffuser. Now they know kind of where they're coming from, but they've also taken that massive utility off the board. There's no more ability to take out any of the hard breaches. They can use a lot of their soft wall utility, but that's about it. That's going to play heavily into the defenders' hands. They're going to have a little bit of a better idea where they can't be attacked from. Whether or not any of the utility is going to do anything against them is a whole different story. And now we're just waiting in that little bit of an awkward lull, waiting for these teams to kind of push in towards each other. As we see California Long Beach is now using a lot of those drones, again, using their teammates in coexistence with each other, trying to push at the same time while getting that information, that vital information, figuring out where these defenders are hiding. Miami got pushed really hard there the second half of that first round, losing it outright. to California. But however, it's a new round. It's a new part of the game, and they have the ability to hold here, especially with that pick off of Exo Jeff, as we see Fresh Quang now getting a little bit hurt from that bottom hole there. It looked like they might have taken some rounds from maybe the opposite balcony. Oh no, Audacity's holding in the corner towards Cigar. It's going to be a difficult one here, as Goyo's got that shield. He's already shot it off to get himself the ability to walk away. We're just going to have to see what happens going forward here, as Fresh Quang has definitely took some damage, but he's in a really bad spot here. He's getting pushed up against his Uzi, and Worm are now playing a little bit of a different game here, as it looks like Worm's trying to hold that window, but Exert decides to run out, see if he gets the kill, and he takes down Uzi. He's able to run into the bottom of white.
And without any flank watch utility, Lulu is in a very powerful position for a deep late flank, as the rest of these attackers are pushed up here, and Lulu will find his way onto Kaiga, but Strikeon will not before Strikeon takes out Exert. We got a little bit aggressive on that sort of run out, but he did get the pick for his efforts. But now the Maestro will go down at the hands of Fresh Quang, but Lulu will strike back onto Strikeon, leaving it all up to Fresh Quang with only about 5 HP to his name. He's going to have to definitely climb the mountain here as he's pushing up towards white. But Soup is going to be sitting in bathroom and just continuously waiting for a plant to be on his Echo drones, as the rest of his attackers or defenders are just waiting, holding angles. Now the Goyo will take the pick out and even the score up for Miami.
I don't know about you, but when that slug rattled off the top of Quang's head, I'm pretty sure I heard Quang as him pinged. He came around the corner, not really anticipating the Goyo player being sitting there, and it looked like he kind of moused over him and didn't really phase him that he was there. And it just so happened that he just got knocked out of the race there. Fresh Quang was the individual we were talking about, probably about, I don't know, 30 seconds to 45 seconds into the round, being the one that had a lot of the health taken away from it. Ended up being the last player alive in that round. Again, that's going to be a very difficult one. Both teams are, so far, it's 1-1. Both teams have taken the individual round that they have won at a rather high level of play on both sides, with either team not being able to either attack or defend against the opposite. With that one, Miami takes, I don't know, they seem to have a lot more confidence in that round, although it is only the second round. That first round that they had seemed to have gained the upper hand against California Long Beach, but again, it slipped out of their fingers. It was just a good old-fashioned play and some really good, solid teamwork by California Long Beach on that first round. We're just going to have to see what happens continuing forward here. It just seems to be more of striking one at a time, and it's rather slow gameplay. It's nothing too extraordinarily fast yet, but we're going to have to see how it all decides to develop forward, as, again, we're going to be playing up that top spot. We're going to have the Mozzie just rolling around, opening up a lot of those different hatches, so they're going to be playing up from the top place, playing it down towards the dining room and the reading area, or the library. And again, it's going to be just depends on how they're going to play this out. Last time we watched, Mozzie got pinned in by 2 drones, which is a rather interesting thing for it to happen, considering Mozzie's the one that's supposed to be the anti-drone player. Again, we're just going to have to see how this one plays out.
Yeah, what I really liked from Miami last time is that they were aggressive over towards the White Stairs area. They were able to get 2 picks for their efforts. However, I do believe that they fell off of their top floor control just that little bit too early. They could have just continued to play that area till death with the smoke and mute being up there, because they got they kept the control for as long as they wanted, and they just decided to fall off of it and let it happen. And then that's exactly where California was able to sort of take what was given with them and pulled the round back. We're seeing Fresh Quang run all the way up inside of Piano. He might run into Soup a little bit earlier than he expected. He's going to be breaching, charging the door, and he will fall at the hands of Soup, once again getting the opening pick with that SMG-11.
Talk about a meaty Soup as he turns the corner while he's trying to place down that soft breach. He gets absolutely hammered at close range by that SMG-11. Again, Audacity is now up top. He's not got an SMG-11, but he's going to use that shield to absolute effect, using those ADSs to stop anything from breaking it, causing a very hard barrier for California to try and get across, as we're already seeing them trying to burn out some of those ADS shots. And here we go, as a couple of the flashbangs are starting to go off. California starting to turn around and trying to get him across. He goes for the pick, but it doesn't matter as Uzi gets him in the head. Talk about the audacity on that peak. He just brains him. And now we're going back. It's going to be a lateral push between the two. Lots of holes are going to be opened up, and we're going to have to see how this ends up playing out. As it's, again, this is just a very well team-played game so far. Exert's going to be watching the middle platform of white as we've got Uzi, Kaiga, and his other teammate up top still just trying to make sure that they're clean upstairs, that they're not going to have any sort of roaming or anybody sitting in a corner that they haven't found so far. But again, Exert been watching the middle platform of the white stairwell, just using the bullet holes. So as soon as someone comes around the corner, doesn't really notice them. But here we go, as Mozzie and Kaiga are going into it. We've got themselves Lululemon Pants gets absolutely disrobed. And here we go again as Soup pulls out the SMG-11, doing dirty damage. But here comes the shotgun, and nothing like a good 12 gauge to the back of the skull to do some serious damage. Strike takes down Exert, and then here we go. Striketon's now down, but he's not out yet. As XO Jeff, the one that was taken out at the very beginning of the last round with that spawn peak, is the last man remaining, and Striketon just gets mercy killed by Soup. Talk about eating something that's going to kill you. Soup is doing some serious damage with that SMG-11 as Jeff is now looking around, trying to find a victim for himself. He's opened up a wall on that backside of the reading room. He's decided to go for the plant as Worm is going to turn the corner. There's a smoke off, and wow, silent and deadly. Soup kills.
And that's the ace.
Corner.
That's an ace.
Oh, well done, Soup.
Using the gas canister to just really backed the Hibana into the corner right there. XO Jeff really had no options as the clock had struck triple zeros, and he either had to get off the plant or just stick it and die. Maybe have, if there was the stars aligned and nobody shot him while he was in his very vulnerable state of punching in the code into the diffuser laptop. But at the end of the day, the round did go to MU, and it was off of the back of Soup's heroics, being able to just take every gunfight possible with that SMG-11 shotgun combination, making sure to work his way into these close-range engagements that were really well-suited to his kit, and masterfully executed that role to not only win the round for his team, but to get an ace while doing so.
Very much so, but at the same time, he also had a lot of help from his teammates. I have to say, he did a lot of work, like Rihanna says. He went to work with that SMG-11, but he's got to be very, very careful of overextending himself. There's not a whole lot of rounds in the capacity for that magazine. So if he gets overextended and he's out without any sort of support from his teammates, he could put himself in a very bad position. But again, it was very masterfully played. He did a very good job of taking away those angles, playing the close ones, using all of the abilities that his weapon and kit gave him to make sure that he had the advantage at all times. So that was very well played by Soup. Well done for MU holding that one up, and now it is 2-1 for Miami.
Now as Soup is going to switch off of the traditional support role on that smoke all the way up to the deep roaming vigil that we're going to see playing upstairs, as he actually might be going for a spawn peek once again. He's going to try to check the outside cam to get any sort of intel, and seeing that nobody spawned over towards that side of the map, his spawn peek will not be lethal this time again.
But it doesn't matter as Uzi finds Exert trying to do a similar spawn peek, and he gets brained from downstairs looking through that double door. Uzi must have been watching for that one because it looked like a lot of them were staring up at a window up top. If he decided to do a run out, or even better yet, they could have just walked into his line of fire. But we just saw Uzi was able to extend the barrel and shoot the rounds through the base of the skull, and there goes Exert. That's one off. There goes their Jaeger. Hopefully he got all his ADSs down. If not, that's a massive waste. But Soup wandering around trying to see if anyone's come in through that way. It looks like no one has actually entered through the bottom. It was just a pick through the berry on the door. And we're back upstairs to Kaiga and the rest of his crew coming in through that top red hatch as we see Uzi and Kaiga working in tandem, trying to take that cigar lounge into piano. Downstairs in the kitchen area, we're seeing Lulu and Soup and Audacity all on the same floor here as Soup has decided to try and creep up White Stairwell. Maybe get a little bit more control of that second floor and keep them away from the hatch and some of those soft floors. We'll have to see how it goes because Uzi's still on the map. He's got that buck skeleton key shotgun. He can do a lot of hull damage on that floor if he decides to. Going back upstairs, Strike and looking down through the Christmas tree staircase. Kaiga also on his drone, making sure that he's just kind of getting that extra information, but the time is starting to whittle down. There's about 1 minute and 10 seconds left, as the attacking team really hasn't done too much, and here comes Soup taking down Fresh Quang with a fresh haircut. Oof, that's gotta hurt as he goes down to the Christmas tree stairwell. Kaiga going back down towards it. He's going to try and see if he can find Soup. Soup by himself, though, is quite deadly, but he's put down, Soup? Yep, Soup's been put in the down but not out, but now he is completely out as Kaiga finishes him off, and that's one hell of a player off the board. Kaiga also dropping Audacity. He's doing some serious damage playing as that Ash main character. We'll have to see how this goes as Worm and Lulu are the last two on site trying to hold off. Uzi walks in. Lulu strips him of everything he owns. There goes the Nido cell as the rest of them are starting to try and push in. It is going to be an interesting one as Lulu and Worm are working on a little bit of a crossfire as it looks like California Long Beach are going to try and push from that double door. It's going to be very difficult because both of them are pretty much watching it as Worm takes down Exo Jeff through the breach hole on that side. Soft, and there goes another one as the SMG-11 is lighting it up yet again as Strikton gets brain panned, and Worm is just absolutely going hectic as the defenders take that 4th round. Ouch! The time runs out and there's nothing left for you to do as Worm holds it on for his teammates inside the kitchen. Well done, well played, and the eggs are now made.
Yeah, they were able to take that kitchen site from what it seemed like they were going to lose in a 2v4 situation.
Neither of the team can really push against it. It's being utilized heavily by Miami University so far.
Going into round 5 of Cafe Dostoevsky with a score of 3-1 into the side of Miami University. However, you have to say that it is a defender-sided map, so this is sort of an expected outcome. You're going to be looking to see maybe a 4-2, maybe a 3-3 split if the attackers are really feeling themselves and winning their gunfights. But as you push forward, Miami's going to be trying to just grab as many rounds as possible. If they are going to win these last 2 attacks, which they will be able to defend Bar Cocktail, then go back down to the 2nd floor area. They could put themselves into the driver's seat of the map that California State Long Beach actually did choose.
It's going to be definitely interesting to see how they do this. They just the one problem that seems to be with a lot of teams is they get a lot of those defending round wins, but when it comes to the second half, when they're being the attackers of it, it seems like that second half is very, very difficult to deal with. It's almost easier to get it out of the way right away, as we're seeing Strikton blow up Soup with that Claymore at the bottom end of that double window. Soup walking right into it by accident, but he also got that extra pick on Strikton as Strikton IQ goes down. Going forward here, we're watching Audacity taking up on the 2nd floor. Uzi and the rest of them are trying to push upwards, it looks like. But so far, it looks like on that 3rd floor right now, both teams are just kind of scrambling a little bit. They don't have a whole lot going on. The Habana's finally getting in there to try and take out that piano wall. They still got Audacity using that Nitro cell from below, taking down Fresh Quang, and then Uzi killing Audacity. It's just a trade after trade so far. Both teams are going absolutely haymaker on each other. It is a 3v3 right now. The advantage is right now on CS ULB as Kaiga takes down Lulu. He's got one inside the freezer, but that's a shotgun, but he's looking the wrong way as Exer does find Exo Jeff. It's going to be all up to Kaiga, really trying to take the site for himself as Worm comes out of there with that 12-gauge shotgun, killing Kaiga from behind. It's one of the only ways to take down an Ash main, and it seems like this time it worked as Uzi is now on a 2v1. He's got to figure what the heck's going on in front of him as he's just been poisoned by the Legion Mine. You got one in the bathroom, and the other one seems to be over towards Freezer still. On that backside, he's going to decide to go back towards Red and kind of weigh out his options as there is a castle barricade in between the cigar and piano areas, which is going to give him a little bit of leeway here. He has to figure out that there is one in Freezer. If he's able to take him out, if he's able to take on Worm and take that shotgun off the board, he's got command of the site, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen as he's been made into worm food. Uzi, close range 12-gauge buckshot right to the chest. That's going to take down even the toughest Canadian boys there are.
Yeah, and so I am back after a short little technical difficulty. I am back on in it, and thank you, Spades, for taking over that entire round. I know it's not the easiest thing in the world to continue just powering through without a supporting caster, but now we are back, and that was a wonderful round on display from Miami, and now they are going to have to go back down to the second floor reading room and fireplace hall bomb site. They were able to defend it successfully once, and they're going to try to repeat that feat, as this also was the only site that they've lost in this game thus far. Or we're definitely going to be looking at Exert and Soup going on that SMG-11 shotgun combination that we've seen be put on absolute display on this map, really taking these close-range engagements and really just frying attackers at will. As Exert did pick up a couple of kills last round, and we're looking at Soup, who's already on 9 kills as we're pushing into the end of the first half.
Talk about doing your share of the work that needs to be done. Soup is nothing but water and a little bit of flavoring, but in this one, he's showing that he's more of a chunky man himself, as he's carrying his team on his back with Exert, also helping him out wherever he can. Worm definitely holding down the fort on that freezer push. 2 of them, including an Ash, tried pushing in on him and tried moving around. He played it smart, he played it cautious, and he chose his time to attack with that shotgun, and both times worked out in his favor to the absolute effect. Buck taking everything, including the buckshot, to the chest. He gets down at the end of the round, but not just that. The Ash didn't actually know where he was. Him holding that freezer and being as cautious as he was and playing that absolute disciplined play allowed him to start shooting her in the back before she even knew what was going on. As Ash was just trying to turn around, Kaiga sitting up top on that 3rd floor had to try and wheel around while a second volley of pellets hit him in the back and taking him out completely. Again, this is another hold that we've seen already. Oh, there we go, as Exert finds Fresh Quang hanging from the top of that rope. Talk about being tied up in the wrong position. Exert using that SMG-11. Miami is going to basically be known by using this weapon, but again, it is a staple of the community, and a beloved one at that.
Yeah, Fresh Quang just can't catch any luck as he's continually just being shot in the back by these SMG-11s. As that was a really aggressive and smart play from Exert, as he was able to read in exactly how California State has been getting to the roof. But speaking of the roof, Kaiga's just going to drop straight in on Skylight and start challenging Audacity on this shield. They're going to have to go in and start burning away this ADS to try to use this Ash charge to remove it. But Exert is down below trying to get a Nitrocell onto the roof, but he did miss with his trajectory on the arc as he's going to rotate over and try to take out this player, and Kaiga is causing a whole lot of sort of issues for their roamer upstairs.
Yeah, it was almost reminiscent of Tim Tebow and the Broncos in 2009. That throw just was not going to make it to the intended target. But as we see Soup and Audacity holding off together here, but it looks like Soup is going to play this a little bit more smart. He baits out Audacity, giving them a sense of false confidence as he turns the corner and he Uzi gets him down with that SMG-11 shotgun. Holy smoke, Strikton going to push around the corner, but it doesn't matter as Soup is going haymaker. Jeff goes down, Strikton down, and he's finally put down by Kaiga sitting in the back. But then is 3 people off the board. Kaiga's hurt. He's the last one left. 5 or so health left. I know he's got an Ash main here, but this is even a massive workload that still needs to be done, as it is Lulu, Worm, and Exert all holding on to sight right now. And he's the last one with like minimal health left. This is going to be absolutely nuts to see what he's able to come up with, whether or not he's able to keep it together, maybe even get a frag. But like I said, it's insurmountable as there's 20 seconds left on the clock. Turning around, Kaiga's trying to figure out where they're holding. It looks like they're going to start shooting from underneath the hole. Now he's in an even bigger problem as the time is still whittling down. It's 10 seconds. He does not have the time to be dealing with this right now. And it turns out that Lulu just comes out in the old side and, ooh, there we go. Kaiga's now been taken down. Lulu holding on and whittling that time down with just some misdirection plays. Well played by Miami. It is now 5-1.
Man, Soup is just putting on a highlight reel here. He's just peeking in and out and just showing the power of Smoke's kit on whenever they go to this second floor site. He's at, what, 12 kills now, I believe, after the triple kill from last round. And he will be picking up the next operator. I was hoping he would have already chosen it, and as he will pick the IQ, which is an aggressive operator that I have seen him do a little bit of work with, getting aggressive with that light machine gun. But now we're going to see onto the defensive side. They're going to be bringing the Legion as well as the Maestro, who are two operators we haven't really seen utilized on the Miami side that much. It's actually Soup. We'll go ahead and 6-pick onto the sledge to get a little bit more soft breach utility, bringing a set of nades that Buck can no longer bring. However, if they do get overly aggressive, that's where Exo Jeff's going to shine with his Legion goo mines. He's going to give off a lot of audio cues, as well as take away the ability to sprint from the attackers. And as time whittles down, he gets more and more trapped, and it makes it more and more difficult to get in towards sight.
Now, looking at this second side, now we're at the turnaround. I'm looking for Fresh Quang to turn into Ripe Quang and see if he can get back himself on the board, as he's currently sitting at 1-6, and he's just had an absolute abysmal time, and it's not even half the time his fault. He's usually put in just some bad situations where Miami University's put themselves in very advantaged situations, whether it's a spawn peak or just a random couple of kills that ends up putting Fresh Quang in a really bad situation. We're going to have to see how this turns around. He is playing the Maestro, the meatball man himself. Chef Boyardee going to be sitting on that drone trying to tap some people with some blinding lasers there, as we see Exert and Lulu's pushing into the bottom end of that utility hallway near White. They're going to try and see whether or not there's anyone that's going to try and run out on them. That's something that they were doing several times over. And it doesn't look like anything's going to happen, but they're still going to have Exert chilling there just in case.
Yes, so the rest of the attackers, Arcus, have made their way all the way to the top of red stairs onto those hatches, and they're going to be opening those up and allowing them to drop straight in towards close proximity of sight, but not before they're going to do some extensive drone work to see exactly how California State Long Beach is set up in their defenses, as now the Bandit will be seen out as he's playing quite aggressively up inside of the cigar lounge area, but the rest of his team's going to rotate back over towards White and anxiously await the rest of these attackers pushing in towards sight. There hasn't been a whole lot of action thus far, however Quang and Kaiga both taking just a little bit of damage from a little bit of over-aggression and rotation in their peaks, as the rest of these players are now swinging in on windows, trying to take in piano control as quickly as possible.
So far, it's about 1 minute and 30 seconds left after I'm done talking here. But it looks like Miami's going to try and play this a little bit more methodically. They're not doing a whole lot of droning, which they're also not moving in a whole lot either. They're waiting for California Long Beach to make their own mistakes, to get themselves antsy and wait for the push and start moving around and allow themselves to use these holes in the barricades to do some serious damage, but it looks like they're not going to bite. Uzi, as Bandit, playing in that cigar shop area, they're already in as Exert's now moved in, but he's getting pinged hard by a couple cameras in the area. He's also got a friend with him, and here we go as Uzi takes down Exert. That's one of the guys playing in piano, but it doesn't matter since a trade is Soup. Going absolutely haymaker, taking down Uzi at that range with that ACOG. Well done on that, but he's still got a fair amount of a mountain to climb here, as it's a 4v4, and there's only 40 seconds left on the map. That's a lot of fours to deal with.
Yep, Soup does still have that SMG-11 in his pocket, and he could be taking some close-range engagements if he pushes in towards White Halls. But with Kaiga down below with this Nitro Cell, he's probably going to find somebody on balcony, and we'll drop the diffuser onto the ground as now Worm falls at the hand of Utility. So now we're going to have to see Miami push over into that area to get that diffuser back. As Kaiga and the Habana are now in a little bit of a stalemate, but Strikey will swing right out and take out Soup as the Maestro picks up a kill onto Lulu, leaving it all up to Audacity, who's just going to save the op here and take the ground for California, but not before taking out Kaiga.
Well done on him. He was able to save the op. That's a huge note. Never mind, you can't buy in this game. I have to remember what game we're talking about here. But after that one, the defenders take a round. That was a little bit of an upset because it looked like there for at least for a second or so that Miami was starting to build some momentum, especially when Soup took out what was it? Uzi sitting in that cigar shop area. But again, Fresh Quang getting that kill on Lulu. This might be when it gets to get turned around a little bit here, as they are on the defending side. It is a very heavily sided on the defenders, so we're gonna have to see how this works out for him. But again, him and Kaiga also took just a little bit of damage of being a little too aggressive and moving around way too much. Especially playing as Maestro, you need to be seated or at least in a specific area, and that's kind of just where you're going to be for at least a little bit. However, at the very beginning of the round, he decided to try and move around a bit, and that almost punished him severely, but he was able to stay back, he was able to get the extra kill, and he's now started himself on that journey of redemption, as he's had so many bad, not even bad choices on his part, but just bad luck plays on that first few rounds at the very beginning. And now it's time for him to turn it around, and so far he's doing okay.
Yeah, this could potentially be a very deep roam setup. A lot of players off-site for California State, which usually on Kitchen you can either see a really heavy roam or a really heavy sort of anchoring position. But in this instance, when you have operators such as the Jaeger, the Vigil, and the Mozzie, it does seem as if you're going to try to get some extended control besides just sight. That's exactly what we're seeing the Vigil play. He's going to be upstairs inside a train, trying to deny any of this vertical control that the attackers are going to try to push in, and he has Strikey on right within within arm's reach, within a quick rotation if he starts getting overwhelmed. But with Soup, Exert, and the rest of the gang going all the way upstairs, they're going to be doing a full top-down roam clear, as they definitely do want control of that train area, because that's how they're going to get rid of the utility of Exo Jeff blocking the breaching of the walls.
And we're watching, or at least we're watching, Soup walking in through that third floor into Piano, trying to clear it out from the top down. He's going to be using that skeleton key to masterful effect here, as he's opening up some of the hatches to give his team a little bit of a chance to look downwards, as Exert using that binocular piece on the top of his Jackal character, looking for those feeties, trying to see whether or not the Spanish Inquisition can smell out the heretic before they get caught from behind. As Exert starts moving down that white stairwell, but the first person he might walk into is Strike. Strike's watching the white stairwell through the reading room, and it looks like Uzi has now got his back turned to that soft wall. We'll have to see if that turns around to be bad, as we see Exert starting shooting through, but he gets caught out in the open as Kaiga walks up and unloads using Mozzie's primary, and now Striken finding Lulu. Things are getting not too good for Miami. Miami's got to turn it around, but again, before I even get to finish, Soup gets the headshot on Uzi. There, things might turn around a bit, but Soup is now taking some serious damage as he's getting into a little bit of a firefight himself. He's continuously using that skeleton key to give himself some rotates, but it's also very much a double-edged sword. Opening up those walls, he's going to be giving the defenders the ability to move around him as well, and with now that they overwhelm them in numbers, it's going to cause some problems if they decide to roam upstairs and try to get around them.
Yeah, Soup is now fully into the mining room, and he's going to be taking out these mute jammers on the wall, allowing the rest of his teammates that are stacked up inside of the bakery area to fulfill their roles. Go ahead and have the Habana breach a path into sight, and Worm is probably going to be using his crossbow with those smoke bolts and those asphyxiation bolts attached to it to really push their way in. However, the Habana hole does seem to be just a little bit glitched, but that might be visual on our side. As Soup picks up a second kill onto Strikeon, evening it up at 3-3. However, he has taken a whole lot of damage from all these engagements he's taking. So, but he will pick up a third nonetheless onto Kaiga, leaving it all up to Fresh, Quang, and XO Jeff on site.
And just when you think there's no soup left, you start getting the bottom of the pot, and he's now going in all in, but Fresh Quang opens up with the machine gun. Audacity answers back, taking down the freshness, that is Quang. And now we have the machine, Audacity pulling out that bearing 9 and bearing down on XO Jeff, who tried using the shotgun to lethal effect. However, it did it with birdshot as it did not do enough damage, and Audacity wins the round for MU. Well done on Miami. Again, a very good try on California Long Beach there as they pushed in with, while they were holding there with a lethal effectiveness at the very beginning, but Soup got in there, watered them down, and I think that was just enough to get his teammates in there and try to get them into the game, as Soup did get knocked down quickly by Fresh Quang, especially because he had 0 to no health. But again, they were able to push in, and the rest of his team, including with Audacity, walked into sight and just cleaned up what was left of the defending side team.
Yeah, Soup must be feeling really at home with this kitchen site. Here, as he was able to just blast his way through the floors and pick up all 3 of the roamers by himself as he take out Kaiga, Strikeon, and Uzi with his Kate, which is a beautiful gun. He has the ACOG on, and he was using that to full effect, popping off heads as he pleased. He was also on the front foot of the attack and sort of just kind of sacrificed himself because he knew he had low health. He just ran in and said, "Hey guys, just refrag me. I've done my job." And that's exactly what the rest of the attackers did. And at the end of the trading, at the end of the round, they did reign victorious, and they have pushed this map to match point.
Yeah, as MU's currently sitting at 6-2 against CSULB. We'll have to see how things go from here, as it's getting interesting. Soup, the one-man army, the wrecking ball that is Miami University. He is the one-man team opening up the holes where his teammates just get to whittle in and finish up the round for themselves. Right now, I don't know what you got to be thinking as a CSULB player. You've got to be thinking to yourself, okay, how can we stop this guy? Are we going to play it more as a team, or are we just going to try and just pull him off the board as quickly as possible? Because if they're able to do that, right now he's almost got about 3 times the amount of kills as anybody else on his team right now. He seems to be the difference maker, but will it make enough difference for California Long Beach to get a few rounds under their belt?
Yeah, but the thing is about Miami is that they are a very evenly well-spread team. They have a bunch of really great players who play off of each other so well. But the thing is right now, Soup is just sort of embodying their spirit to an extent. He's feeding off all the intel that his teammates are giving him. They're giving him really good callouts, giving really good drone work. So it is not just all on his back. He's just sort of the one that's capitalizing on the opportunities the rest of his team is giving. And it just does seem that if California can't get their stuff together here, they might be losing their own map pick, which would not be an ideal situation for them, just as this Mozzie is not in an ideal situation, as the Jackal track does go off, alerting the rest of the attackers to his position down near the bottom of Brown Stairs towards that big Christmas tree bar area.
As we're seeing Kaiga trying to figure out where he's going to get pushed from. But again, no one ever expects the Spanish Inquisition until it happens. And there we go as Worm finds Uzi and drops him with lethal effect. That's one inside kitchen. But now Soup finds him, taking down Kaiga. That's it. There goes another one of the roamers as Strikton is the last man standing outside of the site. Fresh, Quang, and XO are still holding on to site, but it looks like Soup and Co. are deciding to try and open up that bakery side wall. I'm going to see how this works as Jeff is holding it with a shotgun. It's going to be very difficult for him, especially if they're holding from that double door on the backside. Using those ACOGs are going to completely nullify the ability to use that shotgun, but it looks like Maverick might just sign his own death warrant as we see him starting to use those Maverick holes to look through with the 12 gauge. That could be very, very bad for them as we see Exer taking down Strikton, but Strikton also taking down Exer. That's a trade right there all on its own, as they've now opened up side the wall. It's Audacity, Worm, and Soup trying to whittle their way in with Jeff holding it with that 12 gauge. And he's trying to do his best to do as much damage as possible, but it's not enough. As Soup again coming in as the one-man wrecking crew. And there we go as he takes down Fresh Quang with another headshot. That's a good half. They've taken the first map. And that was absolutely, like, the amount of teamwork that keeps going through there. That's a 7-2 win for Miami. on California Long Beach's pick. That's got to hurt a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit. But when you're playing against somebody like Soup, he just has the potential to just absolutely pop off. As we saw him get a 3K at the end of the round, and he finishes off his score of 19, 1, and 6. Definitely a strong start to his series right here. He's going to be trying to push his momentum forward as we see the rest of this series play out.
Yeah, that was definitely an interesting group of mapping there. That was wow, just wow. It looked like almost at every turn when Soup was getting engaged in a fight, he made a couple of mistakes, but unfortunately, California Long Beach could not capitalize on those mistakes to take him out. They were able to do a significant amount of damage to him a few times. However, even with that, he was able to find gunfights where he was almost given the complete advantage to take out his the enemy without really taking any extra damage. I the one that comes to mind was when he fragged Kaiga downstairs on the near Christmas tree, where he came around the corner. Kaiga clearly had the drop on him, but just wasn't able to land the shots on him to get him out of the way. It was almost as if something was stopping him from shooting him, whether or not he just had a little bit of a graphical glitch and he was shooting into the side of the wall or what. But Soup had something on his shoulder other than his teammates helping him out. But that was a spectacular showing by Miami to take that 7-2.
Yeah, and so now as we end Cafe, the map number 2 will be a Villa, which is Miami's map pick. But also, we're going to be actually showing off the stat page that our beautiful people at the statistics team have sort of created for you guys. And right here, we're going to start off with Miami's stat line here, as we're seeing on the lineup of Audacity, Exert, Lulu, Soup, and Worm here. Audacity has a plus 26 kills thus far with 90 kills, 24 assists, and 64 deaths. And seeing him on the Ash Jaeger main sort of mentality, that's all aim, no brain, run around and shoot things. But as we look over towards Exert, he is at a -7, but not that much of a detriment to his team, as he is playing more of a support role here, as his favorite attackers are Habana and Smoke. Lulu on the other support, liking Thermite and Castle. He's also at a slight negative here, but he still has 59 kills to his name, which is a good amount. We're also seeing Soup here, the hero of last game, at a plus 23 kill death ratio. With his favorite attacker being the IQ, we saw him push forward on attack so well, as well as liking Doc, so liking that ACOG and taking long range engagements. But we saw him do the work on the Smoke, most likely, on the last map, as well as Worm on a -12, slightly negative, but he is also playing that sort of flank watch support role with his favorite attackers being Nomad and Maestro.
Going back over to the other side here, we've got ourselves California State University Long Beach A team. We got the Fresh Quang sitting at 64 and 60 with a +4. Kaiga also sitting at a 70 and a 66 with a +4. Striketons at 91 and 55 with a +36. We got Uzi holding on with an 84 and 69 at a +15, and XO Jeff bringing up the right side of the team with 41 and 64 and a -23. Respectively, Fresh Quang seems to like sitting on that Maestro and his Twitch plays. He was definitely using those throughout the last map there, and Kaigo also using Zofia as well as Mozzie. Striked using IQ and Jaeger. Uzi going with that Buck and Goyo, and EXO using the Hard Breach Thermite as well as Mute.
Yep, so that is the lineups for both of these teams, and we did get to see them on display quite quickly on the last map. Even though it only went 9 rounds, it still was an absolute show to watch as Soup popped off in a very dramatic and really dominant fashion. So now we're just going to be trying to put together this lobby, and we'll be able to get right back into the action. Is there anything you wanted to say more about that last map, Spades?
No, I just have to say, like, it seems in several situations where either one team or the other gets put in a very disadvantaged spot. They seem to almost find a way to come out. Now, I know that California Long Beach was not able to come out on top, but there were some moments there where they were also put on the back foot where they were able to charge through. I'm going to be looking for this next map here on Villa to see what they're able to do by doing the exact same thing that Miami did to them. Is forget about who picked the map. Let's do what we can to win the rounds that we need to take this one away from them. Like I said before, the stakes are high. This is semifinals. There is no we'll get them next time. This is next time. This is what they have to do. They have to get it together and they need to do something now. This is their time to shine, so to speak. And it's time to buckle it down and pull up those socks as high as they can go.
Yeah, I do have to say once again, Miami is looking for the upset as they are the 8 seed going off against a 4 seed. But after watching the lineup of Miami, it is very hard to call them a a sort of an underdog because they are just every single team left in semifinals right now are just really strong with their rosters. They play off of each other so well, and they know how to play. They know how to push forward. They know how to defend. They know how to do everything. They're all so organized, and they all have great gun skill. So I hope you guys are ready for us to go right back into Villa, which is a little bit more of a structured map. So once again, you have to say it's a little bit more towards the defender sided, just because of how the hallways are really long. There's lots of arches everywhere where you can hide all these defender gadgets. You can hide vault cameras. You can do all sorts of stuff, as well as every single main wall on Villa sort of has the top area that is destructible. And that allows for one of my favorite mechanics in the game currently, being impact tricking. So that is just another way that any of the defenders could just say no to hard breaching and making it so much more difficult to push in towards sight and open up the lines of sights and avenues towards your plant that you want to. That could just sort of be ended by a quick little throw of an impact grenade and a little poof as that Pokeball looking object flies over a wall and destroys your breaching charges.
Yeah, we're gonna have to see how they play this. We have seen a couple different games where even with impact tricking, uh, if you have that open top part, especially when you're in the trophy area and it's towards bedroom, when you open up top the wall, it gives off a lot of sound cues on the other side. And if you're careful and you play it right and you're playing in unison with your teammates, a sneaky Nido can go off right underneath that wall and take out the person trying to plant the breaching charge, aka either the thermite or even Maverick who's trying to burn through it. Now, not too much you can really do against the Habana unless you're playing as Pulse. And if she's on top of the bed, well, you can't really get her at that point unless you're watching or peeking through one of the doorways. However, we're going to have to see how they decide to play this out as we are getting right into the match here. MU on the attack, California Long Beach on the defense. Let's get right into that ban phase. What are you predicting they're going to go for a ban here?
I think it's going to be a Thatcher ban once again from California State. And yep, that's a galaxy brain play right here as the British operator bites the dust. And we will not see him on yet another map. But out of the Miami side, I'm going to see maybe a Jackal ban because of the ability to really deny all of the deep roam you see on Villa. Villa, in the way it's structured, is a very large map, and there are 3 floors to it. So if you are one of those sneaky roamers going around in the basement using that as a pipeline towards any of the major staircases, you can use it as a really good avenue to push forward on everything. We're actually going to see a target ban on the Ash, as nobody on the Miami sides wants to see Kaiga play that operator once again, as he did pick up a whole lot of kills using the FBI agent, as well as another defender dropping down, and that will be Mira banned once again, as she is a very strong operator and sort of a default ban on every map. We rarely get to see her in competitive play because of her insane amount of utility, as well as the ability to just completely redesign how sites have to be played, as well as now the Kaid being dropped as well, and that does accompany the Thatcher ban that we saw before. Those Electroclaws are a whole lot more difficult to get rid of down below. You can hide them in sneaky spots and make it a lot more difficult for the IQ to try to remove those, as well as with the Thatcher being banned, if there's any hatches you want to keep electrified, which I think the only hatch I'm really thinking of is the laundry hatch if you are defending living room dining. If you want to make sure that doesn't get breached, there's no way to get it from above without the Thatcher. But when you have a Maverick such as Audacity right here, that is sort of your only other option. So now we're going to see the defenders go ahead and go over towards Trophy Statue Room, as California State Long Beach will be taking the defense first on this map.
And as we're seeing, and we already showed it before, it seems like a lot of them are falling back into those favorites, other than maybe the Maverick pull. The entire defending side team is using all of the operators that we've seen them as before. Uzi using that smoke, Kaiga going on with the drone denial with Mozzie, Exo Jeff using that mute in unison with the Mozzie is very, very strong, especially on this site. Striked using that Jaeger to take down any of the extra utility that might be thrown over the walls. And Fresh Quang going to be sitting as the meatball man himself, the chef boy RD, with the cams that just absolutely hammer you if you're not paying attention properly. All right, let's see how this turns out here. Again, this is Miami's pick for a map, but again, we saw Miami go quite ham on California on their map pick, so I'm looking to see a little bit of revenge here. This, like I said before, the stakes are high. These guys are going to be playing it in it to win it. It's a heavyweight contender match, and the person that loses is not getting up from this fight. So we're going to have to see how this gets played out, as we already see Soup playing as an IQ, deciding to open up some of those barricades down in the basement, seeing if he comes around the corner with his teammates, trying to completely clear it out, as they now have got some feedies. The Spanish Inquisition's locking in on that heretic as he's being pinged downstairs. Now he's run back upstairs as Striked still being pinged. He's decided to kind of fall back towards site, maybe see if he can lead them back towards his crosshairs. We're seeing Jackal moving slightly up the stairs as Soup and Exert pushing up as Soup gets striking on down. That's the ping. There you go. One roamer down. They're playing this smart. And it looks like Uzi's going to be playing up at the top, using that shotgun to lethal effect. If anyone walks underneath them, they're going to have a very, very tough time dealing with those pellets down through the brain pan. As Soup is now looking for any sort of wall denial from downstairs. He thinks he's pretty much safe. And he would be pretty much correct, as it looks like the roam has been more or less eliminated, or at least on that first floor for now. Second floor, we see Kaiga playing as Mozzie over towards that 90 hallway as Uzi found Soup through one of his little peaky holes using that 12 gauge. And ouch, that's 12 gauge through the brain. Kaiga finding Exert. It looks like Miami's being pulled apart very early on in this first match, as Striken was taken down really, really quick at the very beginning. And it looked like Miami was going to have a little bit more of an advantage here. But that's being turned around as both Soup and Exert have been taken off the map, and Kaiga's not finished yet. He just takes down Lulu, and Kaiga's still on the hunt. I'm thinking he smells blood in the waters. It looks like Worm and Audacity are going to try and get through that wall from the master bedroom, but they've got Fresh Quang on the other side with that machine gun, ready and waiting to see what they do. If he comes around that corner going full bore at full automatic, they're going to have a lot of problems in front of them.
Yeah, it's all up to Audacity and Worm, which is the hard breach squad. Both of these players are going to have to push in right here, as Maverick's going to take the first engagement and will down the Maestro. However, he's refragged out instantly, as XOGF is going to make love, not war this time, as he leaves it all up to Worm, who's now trying to take these shots out, as the rest of the defense is just really pushing in on him and not allowing any avenues for him to go through. However, Kaiga will take a team kill out, as he will get refragged out, and leaving all up to the Thermite versus the Mute. However, the Thermite is about 1 HP, but a headshot either way could spell the end of this round, as he's just going to rotate out to the safe area and continue aggressively peeking this valley. However, the Nitro Cell will now miss, as XOGF is going to rotate around, continually trying to kill the time that Worm is trying to take down this diffuser. However, he's going to just play passive here, but now swing out right at the end and take out Worm and clutch the round for California State.
Well played by Jeff, especially after that team kill with Kaiga. I think he was trying to sacrifice his teammate to the Blood God for some more damage there, but it ended up working against him, as he was refragged right after he killed his own teammate, putting a 3v1 down to a 1v1. Talk about bringing it right down to the skin of your teeth. But XOJet played it calm, cool, and collective. He waited till there were the last possible second where the other guy had to put down the diffuser or risk losing the round, which put him in a very vulnerable spot, as that was basically it. Worm tried his best to put it down, but XOJet outplayed him. That was a very well methodical play out of that round. Well done, Exo Jeff.
Never seeing the 6 picks come out, as Soup will be picking up the recently buffed Ying. However, she was once again recently nerfed, as the dev team over at Ubisoft decided that 4 Candelas was just a little bit too much, and I do have to say I agree. Ying was not fun to play against in either ranked or competitive, with 2 smoke grenades, 4 Candelas, and a heck of an LMG that has an angled grip. You can flick around and be really strong in your engagements with it, as well as just burn pretty much any ADS you could possibly find with your kit, and that was just a little bit overpowered. However, she is still a strong and viable operator, as we're going to see Soup put on a little bit of a blinding lights show, as most likely will be probably tossing over those Candelas to deny the impact trick that Fresh Kwong is going to be attempting once again.
Yeah, we're gonna have to see and keep our eyes on Soup, because if he turns into the clown called It, and everyone's gonna be looking to those deadlights and just absolutely be lambasted by that machine gun. We're gonna have to see how that turns out, if everyone decides to float with him or not. But going back at it, it looks like Fresh Quang is gonna open up some of those hatches for maybe some sneaky rotates to go downstairs. For it looks like his friend Uzi is going to have the ability to maybe fall back towards that elbow on 90 and do some damage. Kaiga downstairs playing as the Mozzie. He's been doing some serious damage to his teammates and to the enemy team. So we're going to have to see how he decides to do this, as it looks like he's going to try and play a little bit less of a predictable roam, which is good on his side, because he did a fantastic job on that last round doing some serious damage, although put his teammates in a really bad spot. He also was one of the reasons why they were in such a good spot to begin with. Going back over to the other side, we're watching Worms starting to get us ready. Sorry, with Exert and Soup deciding to push into that elbow on 90 and taking command and pulling them apart right at the very beginning. It looks like Soup's got himself in a bit of an awkward situation, because now he's going to have a little bit of damage pulled off of him, with Fresh Quang using those Maestro cams to kind of whittle away down at one of the fraggers that we already know and love already, as Soup is now taking down that Maestro cam, baiting it out to open up that protective shield. And there it goes, as we're watching on the other side, Lulu using those Sophia impact grenades, or at least trying to. And it looked like an ADS just sucked it up. So there goes a little bit, as Fresh Quang's been put down on his butt, and he's leaking meatball sauce everywhere. And we go back towards Audacity, using frag grenades to try and push Uzi. Oh, and he takes a lot of damage on that one. He may not be down, but Exert takes down Striked. Uzi, turning it back around, taking down Audacity, saying, I don't like that frag grenade. Kaiga also bringing it back. He takes down Lulu. It's starting to be an absolute fantastic match so far. Uzi and Fresh Quang both hurt. And they also got Kaiga and Exo Jeff at full health. It's down to Soup, Exert, and Worm on the other side. They're going to have to figure something out as we go back towards Soup, who's walking into that study hall. He's got one down below, but he finds him as Soup takes down Uzi. Now he's going back over towards the vault area. He's got his teammate trying to find some feet, but he doesn't want to look away. Right now, as Exo, Jeff, and Fresh Quang both respectively trying to hold this off, as Exo might be starting to get pushed here with that SMG-11, but use the smoke grenades against them, falls back out, and Exo Jeff takes down Exert as Exert tries to walk through the smoke, and he says, I don't think so. Not on my watch, as Jeff is now being forced back. It looks like Soup and Worm are trying their best here, but they got the diffuser down. Now it's all up to playing the time game, as Soup flanks around, taking down Exo Jeff from behind. He's making everyone float on this map just as much, and he gets the extra headshot, and there goes, oh my gosh. He takes down Fresh Quang, and that's the end of it, as the attacking side team, Miami now takes one. It is now 1-1. This is just going nuts. I don't know what else to say. Both teams are fighting this one completely out. It's just coming down to a few different moments where one or the other is looking the wrong way, and that gives the other team the absolute ability to take the round.
Yeah, Soup is definitely showing his confidence spilling over from last game. As if you watched him all over the minimap, I don't think he let go of his Shift W key once. He just sort of was running circles around the bomb site. He swung in 90, he peeked over towards top red, then he peeked classical, he went into study, held the post plant, ran across study, went back to 90, went back behind bar, and picked up the 2 kills at the end in the post plant. I mean, my man's was almost running around like a chicken with his head cut off, but it's sort of in a calculated way as he was just reading into the rotation patterns of these California State players. I think it was almost to a point where he knew what they were doing before they even knew what they were doing. Sort of playing the Galaxy level mind games, and that's what we're gonna have to see come out of California State as they have picked up the Caviera. Maybe we're gonna get to see a little bit of some interrogation action coming out from Strikeon, probably playing on a pretty deep roam here, as well as trying to use the silent step of Caviera to get into a very advantageous position in the deep roam that will counter the Jackal. If you didn't know, whenever Caviera activates her ability here, the silent step, her screen goes green, and her footsteps do not get left on the ground for a player such as Exert on the Jackal to scan out and find her location.
This is going to be interesting because right now, Strikeon has not gotten any kills so far in the last 2 rounds, which is a bit different from the last game. However, he's going to be looking to capitalize on using this Caveira and that silent step in order to get around. So, again, like you said, so that there's going to be no feed for that Spanish Inquisition to be tracking for that heretic type movements. We're going to have to see, but it looks like they are anticipating the Spanish Inquisition this time. Whether or not it'll work out in their favor is a whole different story. As now we're going to be seeing Strikeon playing in the bottom end of tarps. He's going to be waiting for someone to try and use Kitchen to start shooting through the bottom to take out that wall denial. And once that starts, that's when you can probably expect Strikeon to try and pounce. As again, we're seeing Soup, and it looks like Exeter going to go through that elbow again. And it looks like Fresh Quang is waiting for it as he's sitting right there and ready to go. But it doesn't matter as the deadlights are being thrown out. There's a smoke grenade to also get off the 90 there. And he's starting to shoot in, trying to get Soup. Soup gets clipped. Not a whole lot of damage going out, but he gets taken down. Lulu takes down Kaiga from the back end of the aviation spot. And here goes Caveira. He's got one down. Will he go for the interrogation or not? No, he goes for the kill, takes down Exert. And there goes Jackal. There's no Jackal left on the boards, and now he's got free roam. He's still alive, and he's got that first kill. He now smells the blood in the waters. Soup is now moving into the elbow with Worm to try and see whether or not he can get through the wall. And it looks like with that ADS also holding there, that Jeff is a lot safer than they anticipated. It's a 4v4. Now everyone's starting to kind of slow down a little bit and see if they can work together as some of the extra momentum has been pushed away, but here we go. We've got him walking outside, but Lulu takes Strikeon down with that expertly placed Claymore. He was not anticipating it. He got the taste of blood in his mouth, but it was just too much. And the greed got to him, and he tried jumping out the window for the extra kill, and that was it as Strikeon's now down, and it's a 3v4 situation. We've got Uzi still rotating to the bottom of red stairs. You have Soup and Co. trying to push in through that elbow in the other spots. He's looking back, but it doesn't matter as Lulu finds him. But Exo Jeff finds Soup and takes down the bull himself. There's nothing left to contain Soup at that point. But we got ourselves Fresh Quang coming in the back as Mozzie. The diffuser has not been put down yet. Exo Jeff is down but not out as now the diffuser is being placed behind that vault door. Fresh Quang is going to have to do something here to try and give himself the advantage as one man is down. He's technically the last one left. There goes that Nido cell, but it doesn't look like it's going to do anything as Worm was able to retreat out through the doorway, and he's going to be protecting it from the next way over. And now we're going to be watching as both of them are trying to push back as Exo Jeff has been picked back up. He's looking towards the diffuser. I don't think he knows that he's there as he's waiting for someone to come around the corner, and Exo Jeff takes him down with that SMG-11. And now on the other side, there goes Fresh Quang with the double kill, killing Lulu as well, knocking him down, and Jeff gets the diffuser taken down. The defenders win round 3.
That was a great retake coming out of the sides of that Mozzie as he was able to just play patiently, really gather his head and gather back up his teammate to really bring it back to that 2v2. Having to take on 2 different players at different angles is not an ideal situation for any operator to do. So even bringing back that mute with around 20 HP, leaving him at 1 shot from anything, really helped to even the odds just that little bit extra. And they got a really nice pinch on as they waited to tap the bomb, and that's when the mute swung, predicting the thermite to try to protect that diffuser. However, they just win the straight-up gunfight, and that's where Zofia had to get aggressive and try to get a pick. However, she fell at the hands of Kaiga once again. Now we're going to see a little bit of a different lineup coming out of the Miami attackers, as they have the Dokkaebi here to try on the room clear, but they will be sixth picking off of her just as quickly as I talk about her in favor of the British sledge. And actually, nope, not even that. They're going to bring the Habana because they realize that they need just that little bit of extra hard breach to help out Maverick trying to get open this trophy wall once again.
And as we saw that last time, Maverick has put himself into some situations where it is questionable at best, why he's surviving. But we'll have to see how it goes forward. So far as the Habana, Yowana tried to get through that wall with the Maverick, is going to give them that little extra advantage to try and push through. As it looks like Fresh Quang is going to be setting up his fresh meatball cam, the eye in the sky, if you will, and taking down the hatch to try and stop any grenades that, if they're thrown at it, will probably drop down and not do any damage to his cam, which is rather a nice little sneaky trick if you think about it. Going back towards the other side, just opening up what they need to open up for their rotates into astrology and making sure some of those sneaky holes that Uzi's been using to try and counter the IQ plays from below, using that 12 gauge to lethal effectiveness. As we remember from that first round on the attack, Soup full well knew it from the top of his cranium was opened up with that 12 gauge buckshot.
Yep, and so we're seeing the Jackal going downstairs once again, trying to see if there's any footsteps down below that a player like Strikeon or Kaiga may have left. However, they're both going down quite late, waiting to flank out this IQ of Soup, who's just going on an absolute tear, taking out every electrical gadget inside of the Ginderman IQ scanner. As once again, we're going to see possibly another kill come down as Uzi will take out Exert from above, but not before Soup took down one of the roamers of Kaiga. But that is your Jackal gone, and that's going to allow Strikeon to roam with a little bit more ease in his mind. But that's another victim that Uzi has claimed from the same hole above, showing the effectiveness of your dry runs, your prep work, and all of the strats that you're setting up inside of these maps, and how you can just really get free kills if you have a good map knowledge, such as Uzi is displaying in these 2 rounds on Trophy.
Yeah, and so far, he's gotten 2 people from the bathroom. I don't know about you, but I hate being pooped on in the bathroom. Going back over towards the red stairwell, we got ourselves one guy trying to go up top, but his drone got taken out by the Mozzie little critter pest thing. It stops your drones in tracks and turns them back towards the defender. Strikeon is going towards the astrology stairwell. It looks like the Habana and Co. are going to try and take out the wall over towards bedroom. Fresh Quang trying to use those impacts and take down those pellets, but he wasn't able to do it in time. However, was able to destroy some, killing off some of the extra abilities to maybe get through the wall. And now it's just more or less a crouch hole and a really bad angled peak. We'll have to see what happens. This is Fresh Quang sitting in that corner. Soup fragging on Fresh Quang. I spoke too soon. He was able to basically walk right in and take him out on the other side as Lulu using that Sophia to try and maybe push in a little bit. It looks like Uzi was taking a few deep breaths of what... sorry, it wasn't Uzi. It was Exo Jeff taking a few extra breaths of what Uzi brought in the canister today. We still don't know what it is. But it is all down to Uzi, Exo, Jeff, and Strikeon to try and do this, as Uzi's now taking a bit of a fight in that main bedroom to bathroom area. As we stated before, he's been doing some damage and holding himself up in that bathroom. We just watched Lulu frag on Jeff, as Jeff tried to round the corner with the SMG-11, but that AK says, I don't think so. Racking 7.62, and Worm now making Strikeon into worm food. Now it's all down to Uzi. He's going to get stuck in the bathroom. He's got to be very, very careful, as it's a 4v1. However, the only one with any sort of HP pool is Worm. He can probably kill all of these guys in one shot if they're all standing close enough together. So they're going to have to be very careful on how they decide to play this. But the diffuser is down. There's 15 seconds left, and Uzi's trying to retake the site. And it looks like Miami's going to take this, all of them holding different angles and different little peek holes. That was going to be very difficult to retake. Good on him for trying, but at the end of that 12-gauge shotgun's not going to do enough if they're all hiding in little peeky holes in different corners, playing the crossfire.
And as we go into round 5, it is a tied scoreline, and that is working into the favor of Miami as they want to keep this half tied and go into their defensive rounds on a little bit of a high note. However, if anybody on California State University Long Beach, man, that is a tongueful. That is an absolute mouthful of a university name. But if they have anything to say about it, they're going to be trying their hardest to bring this to a 4-2 as we're seeing Dining Room Kitchen being played for the first time. And the operator lineup that they are bringing here with the Castle, Wamai, Jaeger, Mute, Mozzie is really playing into this 20-second meta that we see at high levels of play. It's going to be a whole lot of utility on the sides of Miami forced to be used in order to get close to sight, as all these castle barricades will most likely be protected by both Jaeger ADSs and Wamai magnets. And they're going to be using this Mute Mozzie combination to deny any drone work and protect the roamers that are most likely going to be playing upstairs, trying to deny any sort of vertical play and make the IQ and other players work all that much more hard, all much harder to get rid of all of the utility that is going to be down below. I'm predicting that this is going to be a little bit of a crazy ending round, as I think that there's going to be around like 3 or 4 people on both sides still alive as the plant's going to be trying to go down, as we are going to see Kaiga get his final reinforcement on that triple wall, trying to protect himself inside of Trophy, as well as cover his tracks with some pests and have somebody like Uzi come upstairs to play with him.
Going back onto the attacking side, we're seeing a Soup again on that elbow. Seems to be his favorite point of entry so far. Walking into that elbow, he's going to probably walk into Uzi. Uzi seems to be holding it. He knows where he's going to be coming from, but now he's been droned out. It's going to be interesting as Soup comes around the corner. He's hard holding that ACOG, but he takes some damage. Uzi and him both trade. Uzi doing the latter of the damage, doing a hell of a lot better on the attack. But he's got to be careful, as Soup has been known to be deadly no matter how much HP he's got left. Currently, him and Soup are kind of trading back and forth. Kaiga comes back to help a little bit with his teammate. Going back towards our man Soup, going back into the vault area, trying to sneak over towards the top of the stairwell. On Exert's side, Exert using that extra shotgun on that secondary pouch to try and open up some holes and see what's going on down below. Again, back over towards Fresh Quang. He's trying to do his best to hold off any attack pushing into sight. Audacity and Lulu trying to push in through that kitchen-wide side. Lulu getting Fresh Quang. Uzi finding Soup. Going back over to the top side, Maverick still trying to burn through, as Uzi has still got pretty much a command of that top side so far. He's got the 3 armored walls up still on the bedroom side, and Audacity is really the only person that can go through it, so there's no way for his teammates to help out. You do have the Maverick. However, he's got himself in a bit of a predicament as Kaiga finds a sneaky Nido on Exert. And wow, boom goes the dynamite, and there goes Jackal, everyone's favorite Pictionary player. And he goes outside as Maverick decides to try and rotate to get back with his teammates and get back together, because there's now a 3v4. Kaiga and Uzi still playing relatively upstairs and to that stairwell outside of sight. And we've got Strikeon and Jeff holding it down as the anchors. Audacity and Worm and Lulu have a lot of work in front of them. And there goes one, as Worm is now in the down and not out position right now, and Uzi fixes it up as Strikeon finds Audacity. Now it's down to a 1v4 as Lulu... Oh, never mind. Strikeon finds Lulu, empties the brain pan, and that's the end of the round as California Long Beach wins the round, giving themselves an extra point, staying in contention on this map choice. But again, the more often that it stays together, the more it sits in the favor of Miami, as the defending side gives them a bit of an advantage.
Yeah, that was a great round. You know, my prediction of the really like everybody shoved their way into sight at the end of it was a little bit early, as it happened around the 45-second mark. However, I still was kind of right, as everybody on Miami just sort of threw themselves into sight and right into the crosshairs of all of the waiting anchors. Just nice deep angles in very passive and powerful positions. But now the Ying gets flashed by Soup once again as the Wamai is being brought by Fresh Kang. However, he will just opt a 6th pick off, most likely to the IQ, actually to the Finka. One of my favorite operators has a insanely good kit with both frag grenades and those adrenal boosts that make your teammates have a lot better guns. You have no recoil essentially, and you aim down sight so much faster, which could really help the rest of his team win gunfights. As players such as Audacity, Exert, and Worm are just finding it a little bit more difficult to get their feet planted and get some momentum going in on these attacks.
Yeah, the one downfall to being Finka Boost is you actually can't hear anything. Well, to a certain extent. If you have played for quite a long time, you can more or less hear things. But if you're not ready for it and you're in the middle of a fight and a Finka Boost goes off, the initial gunfight, yes, you'll have a massive advantage. There's no recoil. You don't really have to worry about too much. I don't know. Does the fire rate increase as well? I remember that being a thing at one point in time. However, going forward with it, anything else, if someone's trying to slink around you or sneak around you, they very much can get the drop on you, in which can cause a rather big problem. Yes, you have an increased HP pool. This is true. You also have no recoil. But no matter how much HP you have and no matter how little recoil you have, a headshot is still going to stop you in your tracks.
However, I do have to say, with the coordination that we've seen from Miami thus far, Soup will most likely be calling, hey guys, I'm going to boost you. So you sort of like have a little bit of a heads up as opposed to if you're playing ranked. And there's a solo queue Finka just running around saying, hey, I'm going to boost right now, and not tell anybody and sort of surprise you. However, I think more in a competitive way, if you are bringing the Finka, you're going to be trying to go fast with your team. You're going to be trying to get aggressive, and you're going to be coordinated in your push. As we're seeing Soup go downstairs in the toilet, going over towards a library, trying to find any of these roamers that might be lingering down on the second floor. But Kaiga and Strigion are sitting there waiting over towards here, as the Jackal will now be going in at the bottom of main entrance over towards art studio and piano room. Over there is a Doc right above him, just waiting patiently, as so is the Jaeger, or the Mozzie of Kaiga, who will be running straight into the Soup's Finka spear and will fall at the hands of the Miami player.
They were almost having a bit of a stare-down competition. Both guys, I guess, kind of knew where exactly the other one was, and just waiting for which one was going to push first. Ended up being that Kaiga decided to push first, and Soup put him down hard. Uzi also been taken off so far. It's a 5v3 right now. Jeff, Strikion, and Fresh Quang are the only ones left. They're going to have to do something here to hold this in a masterful way, because Soup still has all of those Finka boosts. And there goes Exert. I spoke too quick. As Strikion finds Exert and decides to do a bit of a rotate here, as Exert's been taken off the map. There goes any ability to read any of them feeties and ping them wherever they end up being. There's Fresh Quang still holding that elbow to the best of his abilities so far. He was waiting, I think, for Soup to try and come in through that one window on the backside. Ended up being he decided to come in from downstairs this time, switching it up. Go figure. As soon as he decides to try and defend against it, he switches it up on him as they decide to push into sight, and there we go. Audacity and Worm are both taken off the board. It is now a 3v2, all up to Soup and Lulu on this attack, as Exo, Strikion, and Fresh Quang taking some serious damage, but they're holding on strong so far, bringing the odds forever in their favor as Soup knocks down Jeff, but Fresh Quang finds Lulu, and there goes another one down. It is a 1v2, Strikion. Very little health left. Fresh Quang's got the most HP pool, but Soup is still there, and there we go, as we just saw. Fresh Quang finds the headshot on Soup, and Soup just takes the round for himself at that point. Very, very tough go. Soup tried his absolute best there, just ended up not looking in the right direction where Fresh Quang was coming from, got boxed in. It was a little bit predictable from that side because you only got two ways to go, and Fresh Quang's had eyes on both of them. Again, that was a really good round so far, but we've got themselves, it looks like California Long Beach has decided to give themselves a 2-point lead so far, and now it is 4-2.
Yeah, and this map could definitely go the distance. As with a 4-2 split to the defender side, that is what you expect, and that's what Miami is going to be trying to replicate, as they're going to go down to the kitchen room dining to try to get a little bit of initial momentum pushing forward. They're going to flash that bandit to make it seem like they're going somewhere upstairs, but quickly switch it off to the castle, as Lulu will be bringing the FBI agent here, who brings those ballistic shields, the super shorty, he still has 2 reinforcements just like every other operator, and he does have impact grenades as well, but he will be bringing a bulletproof camera this time. with the most recent castle buff, we have seen him being brought a whole lot more, as his kit is just so powerful in its ability to soak up utility and waste as much time as possible. It does sort of offset his kit in the fact that the UMP is not the best gun to bring. However, if you do hit heads, it's just like any other gun in the game, and it will be a one-shot headshot.
Exactly that. And if you play properly and you put yourself in the advantageous position, regardless, like you said, it's like any other gun in the game. You can do a lot of damage with it if put in the right place at the right time. However, finding that right place and right time and knowing when to capitalize on it, entirely different situation. As they're getting themselves ready for this defensive side, Miami deciding to go for that kitchen side hold so far on this 7th round. Scoring some serious points, like you said, using that castle to try and whittle down the utility and slow down the attack of California Long Beach here. As we are now seeing the start of the round, we've got Audacity playing upstairs, Lulu downstairs, as well as Soup, the main man, the myth, the legend, and that who is all is man, playing at that bottom end, trying to watch the elbow where he knew he came in from, see whether or not they decide to try and capitalize on that same position. If he tries to walk in there, Soup just might riddle him through holes. We'll have to see how that one works out going forward, as it looks like they're just starting to try and take a look around and see who's in the master bedroom and moving through 90 as well. Soup rotating to the bottom end towards Mud. Nope, never mind. Going back towards Astrology. And we've got Fresh Quang playing with that Twitch going in through that elbow window. Sorry, not the elbow window. Yes, it was the elbow window. My bad. As Soup is now deciding to try and take a little bit of a firefight through the Astrology softwall. And there goes Fresh Quang as Uzi sacrifices his teammate to the dark gods above. Now that's going to make things a little bit easier on Soup, as Soup is also souped up and ready to go. He's given himself a bit of a stim for the fight. He was ready for that 3-man attack, but now it's down to 2. And he's now slowed them down with not actually having to do anything. Going back towards Uzi in the main bedroom. He's going to be taken down by Strikeon. Sorry, never mind. Audacity takes down Uzi. Kaiga takes down Audacity. And it just seems to be a quick flick of the wrist on both sides. That's what the showman said. As Soup, Exert, Worm, and Lulu are still on the map, Kaiga, Jeff, and Strikeon playing on that defensive side. Or sorry, on the attacking side. It's on a little bit of a weird deficit as Fresh Quang, again, not being able to find any sort of advantage here, as even his teammates are now starting to frag on him. We'll have to see how this continues forward. This is going to be something they're going to have to work on, or at least try to get together and say, hey, listen, I'm shooting, don't do this.
Yeah, blue on blue action, or in this case orange on orange action, is not what you want, as you need to be a cohesive team to push forward in this very tactical shooter. But we're seeing a lot of breaching go down, as Exo Jeff is going to reach the top of the basement stairs, allowing another opportunity to go into sight. But Lulu will now pick up Kaiga, leading it all up to Strikeon and Exo Jeff, as now Soup's long angle will finally work out as he picks up 1 and 2 to finish out the round for Miami and really push forward on getting their tertiary bomb site off the way early. And now they can go back upstairs for their next 2 defenses and try to complete this trifecta of those rounds on this half and sort of take the lead back. By winning kitchen and dining, that is the weaker site that happens on this map. And by winning it, you're setting yourself up in quite a good fashion. I think they were able to catch the University of California players off of their sort of like off the back foot just a little bit. They most likely did not expect to have to go downstairs. That's why they didn't have a whole lot of soft breach. They still had the Buck, but once the Buck TK'd Fresh Quang on that Twitch, that was 3 breaching charges that went down as a result of that unfortunate team kill.
Defenders, protect your bomb.
Yeah, talk about an unfortunate team kill. I am not 100% sure what he was trying to shoot at the time, but there was definitely a miscommunication between the two of them, as Uzi decided to fire and Fresh Quang offered his skull as a offering to some sort of deity back in the day. Worm again setting up that Maestro meatball eye in the sky over towards that elbow. It seems to be one place that the Maestros like to main those meatball cams and try and take a look around. So far, though, Miami seems to be the dominant one using the elbow as an attack part. A lot of times so far, California at Long Beach has not really utilized the elbow too much. However, Miami almost used it every single round as it was Soup and Exert trying to push through there together. We'll have to see how this turns back around. Like you said, they're back upstairs. It's a pretty hard site if played properly to push onto as the attackers. And it's basically all up to Miami. Sorry, Miami. It's all up to MU here to decide to lose this for themselves if they play a little bit too cocky or too aggressive. However, if they play with the right type of aggressiveness and play with a calm and calculated play, they'll be able to hold this one off absolutely no problem and regain those extra points that they need to even this out.
Yep, but we're going to see Uzi go down below inside a piano, and he will be trying to use his master key on that rifle to blast open the floor and expose all of the gadgets that might be going above. However, he will most likely have Strikey on, helping to cover him in this endeavor that he will be going forward on, because players such as Exert and Audacity are in close proximity to that very important room down below, as there's going to be a little bit of some Ela mines going off and stunning out these attackers trying to push forward. But as he's still in a pretty deep roam in a nice area inside of Mudroom, but Uzi seems to be clued in on his location as the window is broken, and we're going to see Kaiga rotate all the way to basement and use his breaching charge to find a way into those wooden keg barrels.
Audacity decided to try and rotate downstairs, but Kaiga says, no, I don't think so. It's under construction. Please exit stage right. And he ends him off the map as that piece is now gone. And Audacity being pulled off, he's been pretty much targeted for the anti-roam so far. They've really pushed him out of any hole he's trying to hold into so far. Other than the 2 roaming rounds as Cav, he really hasn't had too much freedom to really do what he wants. And we've seen him before when he gets the ability to roam around and do what he wants and have that capitalization and the freedom, if you will, to walk around and do those different flanks. He can do some serious damage, but we're back to the action as Uzi finds Soup and knocks off one hell of a fragger on the board there. It's now down to 3v5. Striking on taking some damage, but he says, I don't think so, to Exert and ends him then and there. Lulu using that 45 ACP to take down Uzi. And then Worm exiting stage right on that, but doesn't matter as Kaiga walks in and decides to pick up the shovel, find Earthworm Jim, and take him down hard. Coming in through that wall on the vault side, that's definitely one area where you're going to have to be very careful when they come through that wall.
Yeah, with the way the bans have gone down and having that Kaid on the vault wall has definitely been a detriment for any defenders that have been trying to win that Aviator game site, and that's why Miami is going to be shifting their defense over towards Trophy Room and Statuary Room, and they're going to be bringing the Echo and Maestro, both of the anti-plant operators here, as Exert will be switching off of the Ela in lieu of, I'm going to predict a Doc. Yep, he does pick the Doc, and he's going to be trying to take these long-range engagements as he's swapped roles with Soup, who's just not feeling his aim as he switched over to defense. He's going to opt to just sit over towards site and use that SMG-11 we've seen him do work with, as we're seeing Worm reinforce the master bedroom wall from inside master bedroom. That's going to allow the impact tricking to go off just that little bit easier, as the way the impact grenades propagate through the holes that you make, having the breaching charges, such as the exothermic charges that Exo Jeff is going to be bringing, will be able to be destroyed just a little bit easier if you aren't able to sort of tuck them into the wood that the other side of the reinforcement could be bringing. We're also seeing Worm set up some Maestro cams hidden nicely behind the trophy, or the statue in Statue Room, not the trophy. And that will sort of create a nice line of sight that could look over towards the Zulu couch area, as well as watch the cross of the breach if California State Long Beach is able to get it open.
Also, on a side note, I don't know if you noticed, but Soup has gone back to that 12-gauge SMG-11 tactic. To see how this turns out for him, as he's still doing rather well with a 10-5 tally right now. We're gonna have to see what happens here, as that SMG-11 was rather prevalent for Soup and Co. for the last map, where they did an absolute bangerang of a 7-2 win. We're going to have to see what happens here, as Soup is definitely playing to his advantage now. That old school saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Uzi going around with his drone, just kind of taking a little extra time, getting the intel that's needed. Fresh Quang getting in there, trying to stay away from his teammates' barrels this time, as that last round got ended with a round to the back of the skull. On accident, of course. His teammate didn't mean to shoot him. It just so happened to happen there, as Audacity, again, playing that bottom of the red stairwell. We're going to have to see how this works out, because last time he was fished out rather effectively. And here we go, as a Nido charge goes off. It doesn't get a kill, but Uzi does go down to the down and out stage, as Soup is starting to try and use that 12 gauge to get the kill, but unfortunately just couldn't finish it. We'll have to see how this turns out, as Uzi is now back up. He's got 20 health left. Kai got taken down by Audacity. Now he's starting to turn around the roam, but it doesn't matter. Strikeon was waiting to see where he was. Gets the counter rotate on him, and Strikeon takes down Audacity. But now the frags are starting to come in as Fresh Quang takes down Soup. Soup gets left all over the floor and no towel to soak it back up. Worm still on site with Exert. Lulu also on site. It's coming down to the 4-man attack team of Fresh Quang, Strikeon, Jeff, and Uzi to try and take this site from MU and see if they can try and push on and get that diffuser down. But once the diffuser's down, they're going to put themselves in an advantageous spot, but it doesn't matter, as Lulu using that MP5 with the silencer on it, taking down Fresh Quang with that headshot. It's going to be interesting how this continues forward, as Uzi finds the corner that Exert's hiding in, but it doesn't matter, as he goes full auto on him at close range with the SMG.
Leaving it all up to Strikeon and Exo Jeff, the breach is going to go down, but Worm's impact grenades will not land. Actually, the second one will, and that's going to continue killing time, as there's not any time to push forward. They're going to have to go into this crossfire. As he pre-fires around the corner, Worm will protect his man and leave it all up to Strikeon, who's going to have to go here. He finds the Maestro, but it's not going to be enough, as Worm picks up the final 2 kills of the round and puts it to a 5-4 scoreline, making it a little bit more. Wow, that's a nice stem shot just floating in the air. Love to see those visual glitches every once in a while. We're going to be going into round 10 at a score of 5-4, as Miami's going to be trying to push in and defend Aviator Games once again and tie the scoreline up.
That was, talk about hang time for that stim pistol round, though, right? It's just kind of sitting there in the middle of the air. It looked like Doc had found some anti-gravity suits or something and put it on his stim pistol. But again, it turned around as Maestro was just sitting there, Worm holding that angle with his teammates, sitting on that backside, and just opened up that can of worms, if you will, right in their face, and Strikeon just couldn't land the frag. And I'm sorry, but when the machine gun walks into your chest, it is going to be very difficult to walk away still breathing. I don't know. I don't care who you are, unless you're T'Chaka with all the armor in the world and bulletproof glass. It is going to cause some health problems. Going back into it now, we are in round 10. MU at 4, CSULB at 5. We are almost got ourselves into an absolute tie game. It's all up to MU to try and tie this up. California Long Beach is going to have to do some serious damage. But, again, if they're able to get into sight and do that damage as it's required, they could put this into match point, being the 6th point for their team. However, it looks like MU is going to do everything they can to stop that from happening, as again, Audacity playing on that Jaeger. I have to see if he decides to turn around and roam again, as Worm is digging through the graveyard for his brethren to bring all the power of the worms to his advantage here, opening up those top pieces to give himself the ability here, these sound cues, maybe taking down some of the thermite charges as he sits there waiting. Going back towards it, we're watching Uzi and Co. starting to push up onto the main building, using those drones for the extra intel to try and move around and see if they can find those roamers. Audacity has been caught several times out in the open so far, but has also found ways to do some serious damage. Kaiga is probably going to be one of the first ones to run into him, as Audacity decides to take the swift foot route out, going up towards that red stairwell, getting on the platform. But again, we've got that opening now, and Kaiga's going to be walking in. Uzi gets taken down by Audacity. Audacity's still doing damage, even though he's being found and pushed around with those drones and the intel. Oh, but here we go as Fresh Quang finds Soup, and the Soup Bowl still hits the floor. Again, what are we going to do with the diluted Soup? My goodness, someone get me some Bounty Quicker Picker-Uppers because Soup is being absolutely drained everywhere so far. Soup is down, Uzi's down. We're at a 4v4 situation here. Audacity's still on the run. He's moving around like Bonnie and Clyde. He's got the coppers on his heels at all times, but he's still doing some serious damage. As Audacity finds another one underneath the castle, and Kaiga goes down. That's an interesting frag. Talk about a different type of feeties being found. That one was right underneath the castle barricade, and Audacity, again, having the audacity to do such a despicable act by killing him right underneath there, and it's now down to a 3v4. And it looks like Fresh Quang's going to use that Twitch drone to take down the Maestro camp, but it doesn't matter as he comes in. But oh my God, talk about a flick of the wrist. Fresh Quang finds Lululemon, and he takes him down with a fresh squeezer. Ooh, what a flick. Well done by Fresh Quang. It is to a 3v3.
Yeah, with the score tied, or with the rounds tied up, Audacity's going to go ahead and make sure that there's a trade, putting it down to a 2v2 as both teams pick up another pick. However, Strikeon and Fresh Quang definitely do not have the health advantage, as the castle barricade is going to be prepped by the Ella, sitting in Study, who's rotated to an advantageous position, as the Maestro is actually going to open it up for the Ella to do it, but the drop shot, headshot, hip fire from Fresh Quang on that F2 is going to put it at 1v1. Strikeon now has the health advantage, as Worm is one shot from just about anything, and he's going to be trying to get a little pre-fire on the pings from the cams here. Uses all 81 bullets to take out Strikeon, and will get the defuse down after the end of a chaotic round. Wow, that was a lot going on.
Like I said before, it doesn't matter who you are, but if you run into a machine gun at almost any range at that point, 81 rounds. 81 rounds of pure go the hell away from me. That's a lot to deal with, especially when you're dealing with it at that mouse button. Keep pushing in, doing some serious damage, and MU has now pushed it to a 5-5. This is going to be an absolute banger of the last couple of rounds here, as Worm is just decomposing the enemy team with that machine gun, doing everything he can to hold off the attack. It came down to literally the barrel stuffing at that point. 5 rounds left in the barrel mag, and he just does enough damage, taking down the IQ on the opposite side. Strikeon not being able to do enough damage, continuously peaked him. I'm guessing he figured he could out-aim him at that point, but, I mean, who are you kidding? The amount of bullets that Worm was able to put down range, you could have just waited until he had to reload.
Yeah, 81 bullets, an insane fire rate, and a whole lot of damage on that Alda. But the devs at Ubisoft decided the ACOG was the problem, which is something I still disagree with, because Maestro has not seen any sort of a dip in his ability to frag and his ability to be brought on almost any site in the game, being one of the strongest defenders in this operation lineup. But we're going to go back down to kitchen dining room once again, as Miami's going to try to take the lead for the first time this game. They finally managed to tie up the score, and they're going to try to go into the driver's seat by defending one of the sites that they defended first in this defensive half. They were able to edge out California State on the first time that they brought to this site, and they're going to try to repeat that once again, utilizing a lot of cam work here to see the direction that California wants to push in and try to adjust their defense accordingly.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one because neither of them have taken the advantage so far. MU trying to get that advantage on their side. If they're able to win this round for themselves, they put themselves up. And here we go as Soup opens it up, and the patron saint of Soup is starting to dish out that holy generosity that we all know and love that he likes to do. Soup now waiting for his next person to come forward and try and pick up some soup from the soup kitchen. He's going to be dishing it out all day, and I cannot wait to see what he continues to do for the rest of the round. Going back over to the other side, Kaiga getting himself ready to push into that 90 hallway. But we've also got Jeff sitting on that rappel. They're both watching similar windows, trying to find Soup on the rotate here, but it doesn't seem to be working. As Soup is, well, he's flowing like water. Like Bruce Lee once said, you must flow like water. And Soup is definitely doing that. Going into the the bathroom area. He's absolutely got command of the plumbing at that point. And it looks like Kaiga's going to push in, trying to see if he can find him. And they're all seem to be droning around, trying to figure out where the heck Soup has gone. Soup in the bathroom, waiting to do a little bit of a flesh-a-rooney on whoever turns the corner here. As Soup goes back towards, he's been found out by the Twitch. It looks like Kaiga's ready for him to push out of the bathroom, but Soup decides, no, I don't think so. I'm going to wait down here, hunker down, bunker it up, and get myself a free kill as Fresh Quang comes around the corner and he domes him. That's a 2K on the round so far. He's stuck inside the backside, but it doesn't matter as Kaiga waiting for him to turn that corner on that doorway from the bathroom and gets domed. But Lulu finds Kaiga using that open hatch with the impact grenade, revenging his friend almost instantly, and he didn't even get to reload his mag before that mag dropped, and Lulu was right underneath the feet doing some serious damage. Strikeon and Jeff, only ones left on the attacking side. Audacity, Exert, Worm, and Lulu putting themselves in a really good position to take this into match point here, as it's all down to a two-man attacking team. They do have the ability to breach those hard walls, but it doesn't matter, as Audacity also bringing up the back here, taking Strikeon down. And here comes the push from Jeff. He runs right through the smoke. He found out the canister and Audacity, fragging Jeff out at the last end of that round, getting some serious kills in. Talk about bringing it back. He's had some, a little bit of a crossfire wave at him at the end as Jeff tried to get a little bit of a flank through the smoke grenades, and that just ended it up on MU's side. It is now 6-5.
Yeah, with players like Lulu really stepping up to try to match the fragging power that Soup has been pushing forward. Both of them have hit double digits, but Strikeon and Fresh Quang on the California side are trying to keep this team alive, as well as Kaiga hitting 8 kills. As now we're going to match point, the final round of regulation in this map 2. If California State Long Beach is able to bring this round forward, they will be going and switching it up to overtime, where they will get the defensive side once again, because that's how our regulations and rules work out in CEA. Whoever attacks first on the site or on the map during overtime will attack first once again. So this round is very important for Miami. They need to ice out this game quickly, or else California State will be back on the defensive and sort of have a little bit of an advantage once again. But now we're seeing Soup switch onto that SMG-11 combination with that shotgun that we've seen him do work with. But Fresh Quang is just laying in wait with the Twitch drone, just hiding it behind a base, and is going to be able to take out one of those mute jammers as soon as Soup does rotate out. And that's going to be a little bit of utility gone in a very easy fashion, as he actually chokes the destruction and ends up with his Twitch drone jammed, unfortunately.
That's really bad luck. He was getting it into position, and then all of a sudden he put it way too close. I don't think we can put too much on that. You know, they're under some very high stress right now. But that was definitely a mistake that could cost them later on. Soup also taking note from Rihanna, trying to shine bright like a dime and using that SMG and shotgun combination yet again. Let's see what he decides to do. But I don't know. My pick is on Audacity, who's really done a serious job on bringing up the back end on that roam. He was being pushed out a fair bit there at the very beginning, and since they have stopped focusing on trying to pick him up, that has basically been it. They have not been able to stop him on that roam. He just continuously re-roams again and tries to go for a different flank every time he gets a kill, making them second guess everywhere they've already been, whether or not Audacity is currently hiding there. Uzi's clearing out the bottom of kitchen, while the rest of his teammates are trying to take that main bedroom. We've got Fresh Quang also coming in from the backside of kitchen, watching that stairwell to make sure Uzi doesn't get flanked. They're moving towards the astrology stairwell. And it's just up to Lulu and Co. to try and hold sight to the best of their ability. He's already got eyes on the two of them coming up. He hits them with one of those echo charges. And here comes Kaiga. He's already got Soup. The patron saint himself has been taken down. It's now up to MU's full roster teammates, and it's not looking good so far as Uzi comes in, strafing in and taking down Lulu with a headshot. But we've got the King of Worms and Exert, as well as Audacity, the flank. Exert taking down Jeff, and here we go, Audacity. That's a 2K taking down Uzi and Kaiga on a first-name basis here. as Exert is coming in as well. He's got himself bunkered. He's ready to go. He's got himself all juiced up, waiting just for someone to try and peek him. It's Strikeon, who's the last one left, playing as the Nomad. Doesn't have much to do right now. He's still got one air jab left. Worm sitting in his favored spot with that machine gun, just waiting to unravel some bodies and mummies and make them into petrified mincemeat with that thing. We're going to have to see what happens, as it's that 1v3 is going to do some serious damage. His Audacity's still on the map, and Worm gets absolutely flicked on. Strikeon getting a lot of damage on there, but he was able to take out Worm. That was one that's going to be on the corner with the machine gun. Now he's got a little bit of a chance, but Audacity and Exert, Doc and Jaeger still in play. A lot of ability to do some serious damage here, as he's going to try and maybe put down that diffuser, but he decides no, he's going to rotate out. He's only got 8 seconds left on the board, but there we go as Exert turns the tables and gives him his own medicine, as MU picks up the last round, beating out California Long Beach, doing some absolutely dirty plays. Someone called Chameleonaire, because I think they just got found out to be riding dirty.
Yeah, that was a really dirty flank coming out of Audacity, who, despite California State bringing the Nomad, was still able to just constantly get behind all of these attackers and just flank over and over and over and over again, as he just really just kind of flew around the map at wasn't really held in check by anybody, and that is the reason that we saw the comeback on Villa, as well as Miami taking the whole series forward.
Fresh.
And
you on Twitch
we will see them in the
annoying.
finals
You're
come
really
up
good at
next
it,
week, or is it the week after?
Wait,
I don't know if
what
we
the
get a
hell?
break or anything like that.
Wait, what?
But they've taken it 2-0, and that's the end of this game, and we're going to be trying to get a nice interview in on the Miami side. Hopefully we're going to be able to get Soup in here, because I love talking to the hot man himself, as he...
Man, the myth, the legend, the patron saint of watery goodness, who flows like water, topped by Bruce Lee himself. Just joking. Hopefully Soup gets in here soon enough, and we can get ourselves a little bit of an interviewy poo. I'm hoping he's got some interesting commentary for his own play as well as his teammates. They've done absolutely fantastic work bringing up that back end, especially Lulu, as well as Audacity really coming in clutch. Worm also, when needed, doing whatever he can to hold down the site against a formidable attack. But at the end of it, MU comes out on top on both maps. The first map on a much more commanding basis. On the second map on Villa, doing some serious work on both sides. It was a tug of death, if you will. Both sides fighting to the very last, getting that 7-5 win. That talk about a nail biter. My eyes were glued to the screen the whole time.
Yeah, the second map was definitely a lot more close, as we saw 7-2 on Cafe, followed by a very close matchup of 7-5 on Villa, as Miami was able to just bring it from behind. And speaking of bringing it, we have Soup in here. How are you doing today?
I am actually amazing. How are you?
I'm doing a lot better now that you're here, my mans.
I was feeling a little bit hungry, but I think you're about to quench our hunger for the knowledge that we want to pick your brain about. Good man, the patron saint of Soup himself. Give us some insight on some of the plays from that first map. How playing, especially at Buck, at a low health pool, doing some serious damage. Was that coordination, or would you chalk it up to dumb luck?
So, are you talking about the Mozzie kill on first floor of Cafe?
Yes, that would be the
So,
one.
yes. So, Audacity was peeking the double doors of Cafe first floor, and the Mozzie, he was causing pressure, and I was crouch walking down white stairs like a little rat that I am. And yeah, when he was challenging Audacity, I swung on him, got the kill with 2 HP left, and then we all pushed double door, and I said, all right, I'm 2 HP, just trade me, and they won the round.
Yeah, I saw that. You jumped over top of that one spot in kitchen, right on top of the maestro that was playing, and he unloaded into you, but then your teammates came up and refragged almost instantly. Another question for you. How about your two teammates, Lulu and Audacity, on that second map, really holding up your back flank for you? Audacity had some serious problems at the very beginning with trying to roam around and was being flushed out, but then really tightened up his game and did some seriously crazy stuff with those flanks at the end of the match.
So exactly. So Audacity is on attack on Villa. He's a little bit shaky, but obviously we've been working on that. So and we banned his Ash, who he usually plays on Villa. So he was getting adjusted to that. But on Villa, I have never seen a better roamer than him. Every single game we've played on Villa, his roaming just blows my mind. He's the best roamer I've ever seen on Villa.
Yeah, so I want to build off of that. We did see from the California State Long Beach side that they did sort of adjust to your really heavy roam presence from Audacity by bringing the Nomad. However, it did seem it didn't really do a whole lot. Was Audacity sort of just getting around the Nomad chars or shooting them, or were they just not down on the flanks?
I don't think they were down on the flanks. I think Audacity really just so he plays in a specific area and then he knows that they're pushing. And I don't think he really faced any pressure from Nomad at all. He really just kind of crouched walked behind them and got the picks.
Yep, that's kind of what I saw as well. I didn't think that the Nomads went off as well, but Audacity just still was flanking like an absolute madman. I just want to go ahead and switch it up to a little bit more things. How does it feel to be in finals of Open League playoffs?
It feels absolutely amazing, man. My team has put in a lot of effort into this season, and we obviously think we're one of the best teams in the league, and I'm glad we can show it today.
Yep, definitely have to agree with that.
No, I definitely. The one thing I do want to ask you about is the couple of times that there was some. Well, there was one point in time where Fresh Quang on California side ended up getting domed. Did that cause any confusion on your guys' side at all?
No, we kind of just said, all right, we'll take that free frag. And then we were trying to call out what operator it was, and it sounded like IQ or Twitch. So we called that out. And thankfully, because he was their Iron Head, in my opinion. He was causing a lot of havoc for us on that Twitch. And him getting TK'd was like really big for that round.
I definitely noticed that a lot of your gadgets breathed a heavy sigh when he went down to that TK. What else can we talk about here? Well, the one thing I do want to ask you about is Worm. There's been a couple of times where Worm just kind of played a little bit back on site there, but then at the end of it all, he was able to hold off on several occasions against what was it, Strikeon twice, where he outplayed him or even just outshot him because of the amount of rounds that were going through his gun. In a clutch moment like that, is it nice to be able to sit back on the backside and be able to go, okay, yeah, you know what, I know my man Worm's got this, and I don't have to worry about it.
Worm is an amazing Maestro player. I think Maestro's his favorite operator in the entire game. So it's really nice to know that I have a good Maestro player that can like come in clutch when we need him to.
Alrighty, so I think my
won.
last. Oh nope, continue.
No. Sorry, go. No.
No, go. You were still talking. I was going to transition. Go.
He won multiple like 1vx's situations. Like it wasn't 1vx on the scoreboard, but the gunfights he was taking were 1vx's, and his Maestro play is very well done.
Yeah, definitely showed the clutch ability in that operator with those 81 bullets in the Alda. But I think my final question is going to be, there was a little bit of some copy pastas going inside of chat, really praising you. So I just wanted to confirm that you only hit the nastiest shots, you only drink top shelf bourbon, you once killed a man with Capcan's power drill. And do men wish that they were you and women wish they were with you?
I mean, you watched the games today. I mean, does any of that sound false? Because all that sounds pretty dang true to me.
Yeah, I definitely agree with it.
Soup to me, that's for sure.
The
All right, do you have
highest
anything
quality
else?
bourbon.
Do you have
I just
anything
want
else,
to say
Fitz?
big McThankies from McSpankies. You casters always do an amazing job, and I appreciate you. I love these interviews every time I come on.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
And yeah,
Yep.
big McThankies from McSpankies.
So we do have to go ahead and plug our stream tomorrow, as me and Spades will be back here once again, and we will be casting the other Open League semifinals matchup between SFU, which is Simone Fraser University, and Florida International University. The winner of that match will be playing and going against the Miami lineup you just saw put on an absolute show here today. And I'm excited to be able to cast that and see how everything lines up pushing towards the finals. Also like to give a big shout out to our sponsors, being CORSAIR, who have really buffed up our prize pool for whoever wins open, as well as the runners up. They'll be able to get some nice peripherals. But if you want to join in on that fun and get some really high quality gaming parts or anything for your computer, you can go ahead and go over to CORSAIR's website and make sure that you get some high quality products. As well as that, if you've paid attention to our announcements, you know that CEA has finally lined up some merch here. So if you go over to what's new.gg, there will be a tab over for CEA merch. There's a beautiful wall scroll, some nice men and women's jogger, a great dad hat, as well as 2 really nice mouse pads. So if you want to go ahead and get in on the fun, you could go over there at what's new.gg and help support us. And finally, we also have Rogue Energy, who is our longest running sponsor. And if you need a little bit of pep in your step as finals week and finals weeks for classes, as well as final weeks for CEA is coming through, you can go over and get their wonderful energy supplement at Rogue Energy. And if you use code CEA at checkout, you will get 10% off your order.
And that's all we've got for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you had an absolutely fantastic time. I know I did. And as always, I'm the one true Spades.
And I'm C-Daps.
And I'm Soup.
Have yourselves a fantastic time.